the previous slide, explaining so much on how we read in between the scale, I believe we'll be able to try this. I didn't put the answers because I want us to solve them together. Okay, now what is the length of the line? I'm sorry, I hope you can see this. There is a light blue line on top of the ruler. There's a light blue line. I hope you can see it. Okay, first, let us know in what unit the scale measures. In what unit does our ruler measure? Can you see the units? Millimeters. It's saying mm. It means it's millimeters. Okay, now we know it is millimeters. What's the interval between two numbers? Two numbers have 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30. So what's the interval? 10. Okay, the interval between each of the numbers is 10. Now the third thing, how many lines are in between? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so we have 10 lines in between, and we also have the interval as 10. 10 divided by 10 is what? Great job. It's 1. So what do we then do? It means each of these tiny lines represents 1. So when we are doing the measurements, what do? We keep adding 1, 1, 1. Okay, so where does this our light blue line lie? It's somewhere between 30 and 40. It is almost on 40, but it is not on 40 yet. So let's count from 30 and see how many lines are there. 30, we're adding 1, 1, 1. So the next one will be 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38. So what does this mean? It means the line is 38 millimeters because the measuring scale is in millimeters. Okay? All right. Now let us also see the scale that we have here. There is something like a rock on the stone, the green scale. Let's see that one. Now, this scale, in what unit does it measure? Check and see and say what unit in what unit it measures. Can you see it? Great job. You can see the G in bracket, right? It means the scale measures in grams. Okay, now the scale measures in grams. What then is the next thing we do? Let's find out the interval between the numbers. We have 0, 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, 300, 350, 400, and so on. Okay, so what is the interval between the numbers? Okay, good, you got that right. It's 50. Okay, how many lines are in between the numbers? Now let us count. Between 0 and 50, how many lines? Between 50 and 100, it's always the same number of lines between two numbers. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops, this one has 5 lines and not 10 lines like the ones we've been seeing. What do? The process is still the same. Interval is 50, lines in between is 5. Now what do? 50 divided by 5 is what? Great, it's 10. So it means each of the lines in between the numbers represents 10 units, and we're going to be adding additional 10 units to each of the numbers. So now let's look at where the red arrow points to. That's the one that moves when you put something on the scale. It moves to tell you the weight of the scale. Usually the scale without anything being on it will be, the red line will be on 0. Okay, but when you put something on it, it moves and it shows you the weight of that thing or the mass. Okay, this is between 400 and 450. 400 and 450. Remember we said the intervals are what? 10. So it means we're adding units of 10, 10, 10. So let's count from 400. 400, the first line after 400 is 410, and the second line is 420. That's where the red line lies. It means this stone or the rock on the scale measures 420 grams. Okay, don't make a mistake of putting kilograms. This scale measures in grams. Okay, let's look at the next one. We have a glass jar. This glass jar measures in what? Look at it and say it. Great job. It measures in millimeters. You can see it up here where you have the 1000. You can see milliliters. Okay. All right. Now, second thing, what is the interval between the two numbers? Let's check. 100, 200, 300, 400. The interval is 100. Okay, that's the difference between one number to the next one is 100. Okay, let us also look at the lines that we have. The lines we have in between between 100 and 200. How many lines do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 lines. So between we have 100 divided by 5, and that's going to be 100 divided by 5, 20. Great job. It's going to be 20. Now look at this. Each of those lines in between two numbers represents 20 ml. Okay, so now we'll look at where the level of the water or the contents in this jar gets to. It's somewhere around 900, but it's more than 900. I think it falls on the line immediately after 900. Okay, remember we are measuring in 20s. That means from 100 here now, let's look at it from 100. The next line will be 120 milliliters. The next one will be an additional 20 again, 140 milliliters. The next one will be another additional 20, 160 milliliters. The fourth one, 180 milliliters. And then, of course, the next one, an additional 20 will give us 200 milliliters. So this one has a 20 milliliters interval. Why? We divided the interval between the numbers 100 by the number of lines in between each of the numbers, which is 5. So we got 20. Now let's count in 20s. The level of the contents in this jar has passed 900. The next line there is 20. So what do we have? Add 900 to 20, 920 milliliters. Okay, now let's see the third one. The third one, number C here, a test tube again, is measuring in what? Milliliters. It's in 10 milliliters. You see it at the top, milliliters. The content is also somewhere up there, but let's do the normal process. It's measuring in milliliters. What's the interval between the two numbers? The interval between two numbers here is 2, because between 2 and 4, 4 and 6, and 6 and 8, for each of them, the difference between each of the numbers is what? Is 2. So now we have a difference of 2 between the numbers. Let us now look at the number of lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What do? We divide 2 by 10. What do we have? Remember the first one, we have 0.2, like we convert to decimals. So it's 0.2. That means we're adding 0.2, 0.2, 0.2 to each of the numbers or each of the lines between two numbers. So let's go now to the measurement. The measurement is above 8, but it's not up to 10. So let's do the addition of 0.2 from 8. The first line, 8.2. The next line, no, not 8.3. We are adding 0.2. So if the first line is 8.2, the next one will be 8.4. The next one is 8.6. The next one is 8.8. The next one is 9, because if you add 2 to 8.8 is 9. Remember when we did addition of decimals? Okay, now the next line after 9, again we'll add another 0.2, so we'll have 9.2. It means the content in this test tube is 9.2 milliliters. And finally, this scale is measuring in what? Perfect, kilograms, not grams like the first one, the green one. So let's see. Now let's look at the numbers in between: 0, 500, 1, 500, 2, 500, 3, 500, 4, 500. Okay, we have 500 in between because of course you know between 500 and 1, that 1, remember in the first one I told you the 1 is 1000 grams. So let's convert the ones that look like the whole number to grams. That's 1000 grams. Okay, so here's what we do. 500 is the interval between two numbers. So how many lines in between? 5. 500 divided by 5 is what? 100. So let's look at our measurement. Our measurement is between 3 and 500, and we are adding units of what? 100. So this is going to be 3.100, 3.200, 3.300, and then where the arrow is pointing, 3.400. So what do we say the measurement is? 3.4 kilograms. 3.4 kilograms, or 3 kilograms 400 grams, because those smaller numbers in between represent grams. Okay, I hope with this lesson you've been able to understand how to measure or how to read measurements in between two lines. So what did we learn today? We learned a lot of things. I had a good time. I hope you did too. We learned to always check the unit of measurement on our scale before making the measurement. So check if it is in kilograms, check if it is in millimeters, check what is written on the scale. It will tell you the unit of measurement on your scale. Second thing, we have been able to learn how to read measurements in between two numbers or divisions. That's the way your book puts it. We have been able to read the measurements and understand how to read the measurements that is between two numbers or two divisions on a scale. Now study your student book, page 203 to 204. Just look at it. It's going to give you a better understanding of what we have studied. And your workbook today, page 190 to 192, you're going to find it very easy because most of the things that are in the workbook, we have already treated it here. Okay, so check it up and make the workbook exercises. Send a picture of it as usual, and then I'll check it. So remember to keep safe, remember to wash your hands, and remember to always eat healthy food. Till we have another lesson tomorrow, take care and have a nice day. Bye.